Hello, this video has been a long time coming. It is not the only video I've been working on. I have been working on about 3 or 4. I gave up on all of them because I am lazy. Before I begin, the gameplay you see in the background, I apologize. I suck at this game. There's no way I can fix that. Nonetheless, we continue on. I am doing this without a script again, because that's the best way to record videos. So essentially, Apex in the most recent update, which, correct me if I'm wrong, we can't, it's a rhetorical question, Season 16, we had a new class system added. Previously, the class system pretty much sucked. The whole point of it was supposed to be a way to divide them, but it doesn't really do that. It's like, Recon is Reconnaissance Legends, but at the same time it also contains Pathfinder, Valkyrie, is there any more? Might have been... Can't focus. But Reconnaissance meant, like, Recon and movement, but at the same time Assault also carried movement. Support had 2 legends in it for the longest time. They just never added a new one. And defense was like, you have pure defenders like Watson, Caustic, Rampart, and then, well, now eventually Catalyst. And then you had mobile defenders like Newcastle and, to a lesser extent, Gibby. And it's like, why is Gibby a defender when his ultimate is what it is? And so the whole system was, like, fundamentally broken. Everyone knew that it was broken. So what they decided to do was spend a whole season not releasing a new legend, and instead did a rework to the class system entirely. So instead of having 4 classes, we now have 5. We keep support and reconnaissance, but defense has been turned into controller, and Gibby and Newcastle have both been moved over into support. And assault and... No. Assault is now split into Assault and Skirmisher. So what we're left with is a pretty alright class system, I do have to say. Was it worth spending a season to get no new legend? Maybe. I mean, if the system was perfect, then yeah. It's close. It is really close. I will give this one to Respawn. The system does work. Except for one. It's pretty obvious which one it is. Moving on. Out of the 5, I think most of them are really good. Recon, I think, works really well. Scanning for enemy positions fits better than the next ring location. Much better than... Because they're supposed to be searching for people, and yet you never really searched for people with Recon Legends, you just had them because they were just so versatile. But now, scanning for the next ring location goes to Controller Legends. The legends that need to hunker down and hold a specific point have the ability to find where they need to hunker down, which I think works really well. Originally, I was a bit iffy on this, not sure if it would work, but it apparently... well, not apparently, it does work very well. I'm enjoying playing Watson with this. I haven't played Caustic yet. I have played a bit of Catalyst as well. Catalyst is also quite fun with this. And I think it works quite well. Even the Recon one, Recon passive works quite well as well. I'm going to say quite well a lot, sorry. As a resident Crypto Watson Mirage main, maybe I should fix that. I have weird choice in Legends. Crypto being able to scan people's positions is a bit odd. I feel like the 2 legends that should have kept the ability to scan the ring is definitely Pathfinder and Crypto. Pathfinder should be able to see the ring, if not the... maybe not the next ring per se, but some way to keep the whole pathfinding thing, which it was his original purpose on release. Instead, now we've got a character who has a selfish movement ability, a really bad team movement ability, and no passive. I digress. We have Assault. Assault, I think, is a really good class. Currently, fits very well. Extra ammo in the stacks works really nicely. It means that they don't have to worry about running out of ammo towards the end game. I think that works really well, especially with the backpack change that happened a few seasons ago when they removed when they changed the gold knockdown passive. So carrying heals, carrying ammo into the end game is going to be so much nicer with one of them. And red loot bins, which means that they'll be able to get attachments much earlier on in the match. I think that works quite well as well. Again, I said quite well as well. So being able to carry extra attachments plus that extra ammo means that really early on you're going to have maybe not a maxed out weapon, but mid-level attachment weapon probably in the first few minutes, even if you land directly on one. And for hot drops, I think this is going to work quite well. Supports. This was a super necessary change. It works so well. Moving Newcastle and Gibby into support, I'm not so sure about. Oh, Newcastle definitely. As for Gibby, maybe not, but I don't see where else he could go. I feel like at this point, support definitely fits him the best. But the support passive, insane. I love it. We won a game off of that. I know it's not that much proof saying that I've won a single game off of it, but I haven't played that much. I've only just started getting back into the game this season. And having that ability to craft banners is so useful. I don't have Loba, as you'll see from the gameplay footage later, but I would imagine this works really nicely for Loba. But for Lifeline especially, I think that'll work the best. I just really feel like they should up the drop rates of those mobile respawn beacons in her care package, because I just keep missing out on them. But Newcastle's good, Lifeline's good. Haven't tried Gibby this season, but I would imagine that he's better off, because he didn't have a class passive before. He still keeps fortified. So overall, the class system works really well. Hang on, I think... Am I forgetting something? Oh, that's right, I am forgetting something. We have skirmishers as well. This is where I think is the biggest mistake, was skirmishers, because they just get nothing. They pretty much get a whole lot of nothing. Like, Respawn probably workshopped for, considering we didn't get a new legend, they probably put quite a bit of effort. A lot of their legend developers probably went into... Legend developers? Character designers? What would it be? Legend designers? I'm not sure what the exact role would be called, but I would imagine a lot of them have gone into this, and they probably workshopped and thought, what is the best thing we could give legends like this? And they sat and thought, with their Starbucks coffee on the table. They had a massive whiteboard in front of them with all their ideas down, and they said, well, we have one for controller, we have one for support, for assault, and for recon. We need one for skirmisher. And they sat there and they thought, I know what's the one thing that skirmishers need: to know what's in the care package. No. Skirmishers, yes, it's nice to know what the weapon of the care package is, but there is already a character that does that, and makes more sense for her to do that. Loba's kit makes sense to have that ability, because she can steal it if it gets opened, and she can see it from a mile away. It does not make sense on a skirmisher. What makes even less sense... Actually, no, sorry. In fact, it doesn't even make sense on any class, because no one, aside from Loba, who can steal it, needs to know what the item in the care package is that desperately. And why do you have to look at the care package is another thing. Why not just say, oh, this care package has this weapon. Why do you have to look at it? It's dumb. It's like, I know, we're going to make it slightly interesting instead of just telling them directly what it is. We're going to make them look at it. The only reason you have to look at it is to control Pathfinder's ultimate gain. Oh, speaking of Pathfinder, this really doesn't work on Pathfinder. Why? Again, as I said before, he can't Pathfind anymore because his original passive, which was, I can look at the ring and know where to go, I can Pathfind my team, has been stripped from him. So he can't do that anymore, which is stupid. He should have retained that as a passive. It works as a passive now. Put it back on his kit. It actually works as a passive, even in Skirmisher. Anyway, sorry about that. It makes more sense to have something else as a Skirmisher passive. So, this is me in-game matchmaking. Of course, New Zealand matchmaking at, what time is it? 12:50 in the morning? In the afternoon. Sorry if you can hear my fans in the background. I need to de-dust my computer, but I'm lazy. Right? Out of all the classes, Skirmish is not the class Mirage. Like, it's kind of beating a dead horse here, but he has no movement. Every other character in this has movement. Like, grapple, phase is kind of movement, speed boost plus jump pad, lift and passive and ult, right? The only one that doesn't have movement is Mirage, and he would fit in Assault. He could fit in Recon. He could fit in Support, right? Assault would fit him so much better because it would give him weapon supply bins and extra ammo, which would do him really well because it would mean he could play as a duelist. Support obviously would work really well because of his passive. And that would also mean that he gets to craft people's banners, which I think is quite good for him. I mean, extra heal items maybe is not the greatest, but being able to craft people's banners is definitely good for him. But I honestly think Recon is probably also viable, because the way I think a lot of people play Mirage is that they use him like a Recon character. You throw out the clone, if it gets shot, then you see this symbol and you're like, oh, well, I know where they are now. And the whole point of, I mean, granted, like, the whole point of his ult and his tactical is just to cause confusion, so it doesn't really work as a Recon character per se. It's only really the ping that you get, but you do get that ping. Yes, we're still not in a match. You do get that ping, which can be kind of Recon-like. Two best classes to fit him would probably be Support and Assault. Honestly, out of the two of them, it's like either blue loot bins, red loot bins. So, in terms of loot bins, it doesn't really matter, but it's either carry extra ammo, which, why is it separated into two? I feel like it should just be like one piece you could do. Never mind. It's either carry extra ammo or craft ally banners. And considering he has this, I honestly think, actually, I think Mirage shouldn't be in a class. I feel like he should have a class here, just labeled Mirage, where he gets every perk that these guys get. He just gets everything. Like, scan for next ring, craft ally banners, blue loot bins, obviously what he has currently, see what the care package is. What's this one? Scan for enemy players, and red loot bins and extra ammo. Now that might sound strong, but this is Mirage. So, you know, I don't... Like gun run, I hate this mode. This is Mirage, it's like, it doesn't really matter. Look, instant connection, anyway. This bug, it happens so often where I queue for one mode and it queues for the other. I'm so confused. It happens so often as well, it's stupid. Which brings me to solutions. How can we solve this? What needs to be done to solve this? Well, I have two ideas. One of them sucks. The other one is better, but I don't know by how much. The first idea is to remove the passive from Skirmisher and give it to Assault. Assault are the class that are supposed to be getting kills. Why do Skirmisher have the ammo passive and the attachment passive? Doesn't really make sense. Instead, I would give Skirmishers the ability to gain ult charge whenever they deal damage. This would make sense for Fuse, or Fuse needs a rework anyway, but nonetheless, Fuse, Revenant, Bangalore, and kind of Ash and Maggie. Just means you get to rotate more often. The other way to put that is to leave Skirmishers as they are, and instead just give the ult charge passive to Assault, which would work for a lot of them, for just constantly being able to use their ultimate, which I think would work quite well, because they're the ones getting kills. Wouldn't it make sense for a way to get their ultimate faster? It's not a perfect solution, and that's why I don't like it as much. So instead, here's a better one. This is the class that's supposed to have a lot of escape options, and are supposed to be the entry frag. So my suggestion is whenever they get a knock, or maybe just a knock, their health, either their white or shield health, will start regenerating slowly. Not like Octane passive, more similar to the arcade mode regeneration. I don't know which one it would be, white, shield, or both. You could say both with this change. So you could say both with this change. It keeps regenerating until you take a point of damage. Now what you could do is, rather than just regenerating that, you could have an extra 50 health that they have over their shield, which decays over time, and then whenever they get a knock, that goes back up to 50, and then decays over time after like 30 seconds or so they can't hold it for the whole match. So it's kind of a quasi-Gibby passive, but it's not just while ADSing, and it's not regenerating over time. It's whenever they get a kill, it gives them a short boost of health, so it assists them getting back into cover and resetting before they go back in again. I feel like this one works a bit better. Of course, it would have to be balanced. Maybe 50's too high, especially with red shield and full, let's say for example, full white health, full red health, plus 50, that's 275 health, that's a lot. So you might argue that it's strong. I think it probably is, but I feel like that's a lot better than what we have. It works, I think, a lot better for the fact these legends are supposed to be escape legends, and yet all of their passive allows them to do is find the care package, which their kit is not supposed to be built around. Anyway, sorry that my video schedule is stupidly scuffed. I just can't bring myself to edit a lot of the times. Who knows if this one will even get released. I suppose if you're listening to this, then it has been. Yeah. Until next time, put some fancy title here that says "Until next time" over the clip of me dying in the last bit of footage that I recorded.